you're good, you're good.
Oh, good, thank you. My name is Rachel Cates, and as Michael said, I'm a member of the founding board of directors for Kootenai Classical Academy. And it's been a very, very long road. We started this process in 2019-ish, and we've hit every possible roadblock you can possibly hit. But we have continued to persevere, and now we're on track to open in the fall of 2023, and we are so excited. We've got a phenomenal group around us. We have people who have lifted us up and pointed us towards truth and success all along the way. Amazing people keep coming into our field of awareness, and we just could not be more excited about this. So I want to share a little bit about what we're doing and kind of our plan for the future. And then we just want to hear what you would like to know. So we're going to leave a lot of time today for a Q&A. Okay, so as you know, I don't have to tell y'all this, we all live here, but Kootenai County has exploded, and we are now close to about 200,000 residents in the county. So we're getting there very quickly. From 2018 to 2021, so that's telling you I'm outdated in these numbers, over 72 new housing units were built in the county. So we've had a lot of growth, we've had a lot of people moving in to live with us here, and that means a lot of children. We do have a lot of people who moved into the area to retire, so of course they're not necessarily going to populate the school with their children. However, we do have a lot of new families that do have children. So what that's done is in the Post Falls School District, where Kootenai Classical Academy will be physically located, the K-5 schools are at capacity plus 1%. So they're at 101% of capacity. And they've been building new elementary schools for a few years now, so that's saying something. The middle schools are they're 103% of capacity. So they're 3% over capacity. And the high school, the only traditional high school in Post Falls, is at 109% of capacity. So there is a need. There is definitely a need for additional schools. There are more schools coming into Post Falls and into Kootenai County, and we're also very grateful for that, because the more choices parents have, the better aligned they will be able to be with the choice that they make with their child's school. So anyway, we saw a need, and we're trying our very best to fill part of that need. So over here, I think some of us can relate to this question, what the heck? What happened to school? What happened to school? For those of us who grew up at a time when school was maybe not the most exciting place, but for some of us maybe a little more exciting than others, it was a place where you were relatively sure of what you were going to get. But now you really don't know necessarily what's coming down the road, and I think a lot of us have been a little bit confused. So in the past several years, COVID has been very hard on us. It's been hard on our children. A lot of us have become a lot more aware of our children's educational experiences than we were prior to COVID. There was so much trust in the school system that it has taken time for us to see that you can't just assume that everything is going to continue on without our diligence and without our awareness. And so that's definitely something that's been, maybe something that we've dealt with. Also, school board meetings have become contentious, not necessarily just here, but all over the country, some places much more so than others. But you want to know that the people who are running your schools and who are responsible for filling your schools with teachers and with policies are also aligned with your belief system. There have been a lot of really hot button items in the schools. We've had critical race theory. We have had, a lot of issues surrounding sexuality and when children should learn those types of things, how they should be introduced into the school, how much accommodation we should give for older students, especially who are struggling with identity issues. And so basically the result is that parents are concerned, and they should be concerned, because these are our children. These are our what we pour everything we have into. My husband and I have 4 children who have come up through the Coeur d'Alene School District from the very beginning. Most of them are now in college, but we do still have a junior in high school. And I can't say enough about some of the schools that we've been to. They've been phenomenal. And the teachers that we've had have been phenomenal. So we're not unhappy with the schools here, but we feel that we need more schools here to serve more children, and we need more choices. All right, so enter Hillsdale College. Kind of a funny, yeah, I know. Well, funny little fact about the Cateses, we have 3 daughters, and they are all at Hillsdale College this semester. And, let me tell you, I am grateful for this lunch, because any free meal I can get is much appreciated. Okay, so Hillsdale College in 2012, they began a process of partnering with, or actually they partnered with a group that ultimately became the Barney Charter School Initiative. And the Barney Charter School Initiative, or BCSI, has helped bring a classical curriculum that is, the heart and soul of Hillsdale College down into the K through 12 level. And they have now over 50 schools at different levels of association and affiliation with the college across the country. And so it's a giant support network for the schools that participate with their curriculum and sometimes with their training, and there are a lot of different things that they offer. And so we're very grateful to be using their curriculum in our school.
That's great.
Yeah, we're very, very happy about that. So basically, why the classics? Every school, every charter school really needs to have a very clear mission, because you have to justify why you're going to exist when there are already schools in the area and already charter schools in the area. So how are we different? Kootenai Classical Academy is different because we are a classical school. And that means several different things. First of all, we believe in knowledge for knowledge's sake, for its own sake. We don't believe that knowledge is a means to an end. A lot of college prep schools, a lot of schools do believe that it's very, very important to really focus on testing, to focus on college admissions, and those things are important, and they're not things that we don't expect of our children. However, we believe that if you go through 12 years of school, you should be able to contribute to society in a very meaningful way, and you should be well educated with that amount of time behind you, and you shouldn't have to go to college if you don't want to. So we are absolutely not a college prep school, but we will do our very best to educate the people in our care to be capable citizens when they graduate. Virtue. So Aristotle said that human beings are uniquely endowed with 2 special capacities. One is our intellectual capacity, and the second capacity is our moral capacity. So the intellectual capacity, obviously, that's a very clear connection with school. We're most satisfied and most content when we have developed that capacity. But we're also born with feelings, right? So we're afraid, and we're angry sometimes, and we can be aggressive. There are all kinds of things that come with being human. And so a school that actually consciously trains children in moral guidance so that they can take those feelings and use those productively and show them how to be self-governing. We don't just believe that those things happen by accident, and so we're not going to preach to the children. However, we are going to help them develop virtues and consciously make them aware of virtues like patience and self-government and generosity. And those things will be at the core of our school. We'll incorporate those virtues into our discipline policy so that if children are acting out at school, we can actually take it back to the virtue that's being violated. So it's a conscious effort. Also, we have very high standards, and we want the children to have high standards when they graduate from KCA. If they've been well educated, then they should have the high standards that they themselves will hold. They'll hold themselves to those standards. We want them to be good citizens, and we are also not a terribly high-tech school. So we are hoping, nobody needs to teach children how to use technology, amen?
Yeah.
Right. So we will use technology because they have to take their state testing with technology. However, we're not going to have every single lesson done on a Chromebook. The teachers are going to use the Socratic method. They're not going to be hiding at their desks behind computer screens or doing a lot of this. It's mostly going to be reading books, reading traditional books, reading classic books that have stood the test of time. And the children are going to enjoy it because children love to read. But if they're distracted all the time, they don't learn to read very well. The average for these classical Hillsdale schools, the average SAT score is 1190. And we're not teaching to the test, and we are not college prep. So that'll tell you that there's value in the information, even if it's not being drilled. If it evolves naturally, it's a good thing. Okay, so I'm out of time, and I know that you guys have lots of questions, and so I apologize, but I'm actually going to take a couple more minutes just because I feel like if I don't, you're going to ask questions about this very stuff. So just bear with me. I'm going to read you the mission statement of Kootenai Classical Academy. The mission of KCA is to train the minds and improve the hearts of young people through a classical, content-rich education in the liberal arts and sciences, with instruction in the principles of moral character and civic virtue in an orderly and disciplined yet dynamic environment. Okay, so KCA is going to open in the fall. Our occupancy date for our building is August 21st.
Wow.
So we are accelerating this process to the absolute best of our ability. There's so many families who are so excited about the school coming that we have just done everything humanly possible to get it open in time for next fall. We will open as a K-8. We'll have 428 seats, and that would equate to 2 grades from kindergarten through 6th grade and 1 grade each for 7th and 8th grades. We'll add a grade every year after that until we hit 12th grade. And ultimately, we'll be able to have an enrollment of 702 students. So we're not going to be huge. However, we do have a commitment from our board. This board started with 3 couples, and we've added a couple more people. Some of the people are longtime leaders in the community. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Robbie Miles. He was a legend at the Charter Academy. He was a teacher there. He's no longer in teaching. But anyway, he's phenomenal. So we added him. We added another gentleman who's wonderful. And so anyway, we are committed as a board to having a vibrant sports program and vibrant activities, because if you all think back to what school was like when you were growing up, you weren't these pointy graduates, like they're calling them pointy graduates now, where they're really, really good at one thing. They're either extremely academic, or they're extremely athletic, or they have some other specialty And specialized children is a little bit interesting because that's when you learn everything. That's when you're supposed to just be a sponge and soak everything up and see what you like and what you don't like. But if you do the same thing all the time when you're a kid, how are you supposed to figure that out? So we don't want to have children who are doing 5 hours of homework every night. We want to make sure that these kids have time with their families, that they can sit down and eat dinner together, that they can play multiple sports a year. And so we specifically delayed closing on property until we were able to find an 11-acre parcel that was big enough for sports fields and things like that. So anyway, that's a very important thing. The last thing I'll mention is that we are opening up our applications on Friday, tomorrow. And so if any of y'all are parents of children K through 8, or if you are grandparents of children K through 8, they're coming up tomorrow, and the applications will be open until March 24th. At that point, we will see what we've got to work with, if we've got more students than seats, or if we have more seats than students. If we have more students than seats, which we might, we have an interest list of over 1,500 students for 428 seats. So we are expecting that we'll be able to fill the seats, but we will have a lottery if we need to, and then everyone should know who will be enrolled in the school by the end of March. We're also going to kick off a capital campaign after we have our enrollment set at the end of March, because we do still have financial needs that are not met by the state. The charter schools don't get the same benefits that the public schools get in terms of levies and things like that. So we are going to be raising money for things like playground equipment, sports equipment, gym completion, things like that. Okay, that's all. I'm done. Sorry I took more time than I meant to, but we have